All right, Hustle Fam, we are back with another amazing episode, and I am here live from Boston. That's how they say it in Boston, Massachusetts, at the National Home Delivery Association with the man himself, Mr. Don Staniszewski. Did I get it right?
You did. Thank you.
I got it right. I've been practicing. I made sure I nailed it. I nailed the landing. And this man is the founder of the National Home Delivery Association. We are here at the conference, at the actual conference. First of all, thanks for inviting me, Don. I'm really excited about learning more about the NHDA, what you guys are doing. I think it's really cool that you guys have this niche of business leaders, thought leaders in this space that are able to add value to the community. And I'm just very excited about talking to you. And thank you for being here on the show.
Great. Pleasure to be here.
For sure. All right, so let's put some context around it. Let's start of how you came into this role. Let's talk about your background a little bit.
Okay. Well, I've been in trucking all my life, basically, and specifically in last mile home delivery. And the industry has really changed over the years, and it's grown. Certainly, recently, it's become very trendy and very popular, especially with the COVID and people expecting more and more deliveries to the home. We started this association back in 2013, and we always consider ourselves a group of friendly competitors. It's a kind of a small niche industry in last mile. It's not trucking, it's not LTL. Last mile it's not moving and storage either. But last mile is a segment on its own. But all of us used to get together at different conferences and customers and share information and we all became friends. Yeah. And so one year we decided to invite people to my hometown now in Nashville, Tennessee, and just to talk about industry issues and where we're at and what we need to do and similar problems. We had a lot of similar legal problems, insurance problems, and so on, recruiting. And out of that meeting in 2013, we decided to form an association. And we formed and incorporated a nonprofit National Home Delivery Association. It was with 10 different companies, a small group of 10 companies. And we've grown to what we're at now. And it's growing every year. There's many, our members comprise about probably 70% of the last mile home delivery market. And the big and bulky market is different than the courier or Amazon deliveries and such because it requires more finesse. There's a driver and helper on the truck delivering furniture or refrigerators, washers, dryers, appliance, electronics, and bringing them into people's homes. And trucking is like a necessary evil to the delivery and installation in people's homes and offices and such. But our association has really grown from there. And just recently, especially with COVID, home delivery, last mile delivery has become very trendy now. Everybody wants deliveries to their home, and at COVID, you almost had to have that. Right. But, it's the online presence now has become more and more significant to this type of business. So it's been a great industry. It's a very somewhat of a stable industry because people have to get appliances whether you like them or not. So, we do see some ups and downs in the industry, but it's typically follows a lot of consumer patterns, buying patterns, and what the economy is doing. But there's always some business there because you always have to have a refrigerator, washer, dryer, or what have you.
For sure.
TV. So
why is an association like the NHDA important, right? And how does it add value to a business owner?
We have a lot of similar issues and a lot of significant issues. Recruiting, training. The industry has been, it's gone through a lot of changes, but we use a lot of independent contractors. And now there's a lot of different regulations about co-employment and that's a misclassification. Are these employees? Are they independent contractors? And we share a lot of the same issues and a lot of the same problems. And how do you actually do this and pull this off? Like when you're delivering something into someone's home, you have to have a driver and helper team that look good, know how to deal with a customer, have a smile on their face, that they don't damage the merchandise, don't damage people's homes, and so the training and finesse is a big part of it. The other thing about last mile deliveries that's a little different is people think that these guys have to be big, muscular guys that muscle around their merchandise all day long. And it's really not. It's normal guys like you and I, where technique is everything.
Yes.
Because if you don't have technique, you'll quickly wash out of this industry because it actually requires a lot of endurance and technique. If you try to muscle things around all day, every day, you'll never make it in this industry. So we share a lot of these similar concerns. And insurance, of course, is a big, big deal. Insurance liability, damages to homes, leaky water hookups, things like that. And so, the risk containment is a big part of our industry. So we are all friendly competitors, basically. We share ideas, share thoughts, share processes of how we get things done and how you make money in this industry.
For sure. I love how you pointed out that technique. It's so important, right? Like knowing how to use those hand trucks and different things like that people think like it's all about being strong. Nah, man, it's just all about how to leverage and different things like that.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Absolutely.
All right, cool. Tell us a little bit about your professional background. You said you started with like 10 members, right? 10
We did.
companies.
10 companies.
So what was your company? What was your role in that company? And tell us a little bit about that.
I basically started in the industry. I was with a company years back, Leaseway Transportation. Way back when, Leaseway Transportation was the leader in last mile delivery. They had most of the business throughout the United States, and people, I'm sure, don't remember this, but United Parcel used to be in this industry. They chose to get out of it because it's a very risky and there's a lot of liability in this industry. So I started at Leaseway Transportation. The industry back then was, smaller trucks, all employees, a lot of unionization, and the industry went through a lot of changes over the years. It went from employee trucks to independent contractors and so on and so forth. So, the industry has certainly evolved, and it's still evolving and changing. Now, route analysis and all the software improvements and such are, even AI is a big part of the industry right now.
Yeah.
So we started with these companies, and I am also an owner of a company. We do last mile delivery throughout the United States for customers like Best Buy, Home Depot, Restoration Hardware, Costco, and things like that. And all of our companies, all of our member companies and associated members, they all have something to do with last mile delivery. So there's great relationships, great networking to be done there, and a lot of sharing of ideas. So I think we provide a lot of value with that, and that's why people are attracted to our association.
Got it. So talk about some of the, I guess, the main things that are plaguing the industry that you guys are kind of talking about. You named some things. You talked about insurance. You talked about employee versus like IC, independent contractor. Correct. Could you just like speak to those things that are the important topics that you guys are kind of covering, just to kind of give an overview of them?
Well, customer service is always a big deal because you have different personalities, different people on these trucks. Not everybody is a customer service specialist. So we talk about training, proper techniques, how to make the customers happy. That's one big issue. Insurance is a big issue. The insurance industry has gone through a lot of changes. This is a very risky industry. When we have some claims sometimes that can be very sizable when you have a water leak in a home that's damaging floors and drywall and things like that. So insurance is a very, very big topic.
Sorry to cut you off, but when you say like a water leak, how is that the carrier's problem? Just so I understand.
Because they installed like a washer, dryer, refrigerator.
Okay, got you.
And something's leaking because it was improperly hooked up. So we try to prevent that. And sometimes, it happens. They'll scratch floors when they bring something in. And, you have a delivery for $100 and then you have a claim that's, $10,000. So insurance is a very, very big factor in our business.
Got it.
You had mentioned about the independent contractors versus employees. Regulations are a real big deal, particularly like in states like California and such, where these entrepreneurs, independent contractors who own their own trucks, have a driver and helper on the truck, provide their own insurance and such, they're constantly being challenged by local legislation that wants everybody to be an employee. And so that's become a very significant problem for our industry for several years now. And it's something that we all need to stay on top of. You have a lot of state governments and a lot of politicians and such that would love to see everybody be an employee and provide, a lot of tax revenue and such. And it's a very difficult subject right now because you have entrepreneurs that want to be in their own business, and yet they're being challenged by a lot of these states that really don't want entrepreneurs in this business. I guess Uber and Lyft were good examples of that.
Yeah.
There was a real challenge in California to have all those people be employees of Uber and Lyft. And yet they're gig employees.
Right.
They're very flexible. They can work for whoever they want, whenever they want. Our industry is somewhat of the same.
Yeah.
They can work with multiple customers and such. So they are we believe, true entrepreneurs. But trying to maintain that status is very challenging. And that's a very trendy topic in our business right now. The other trendy topic is, how do you provide optimal deliveries? You need to get density. You need to, software routing and such, and letting people know when you're going to be there, doing everything right. It's somewhat similar to UPS. You know what to expect with UPS. With last mile delivery, people want to know what to expect, when you're going to be there, how you're going to handle things. Go in and out with a smile on your face and then get the hell out of there. So,
making sure that your compliance is on point is an integral part of any trucking related business. Today, I stopped by my friends over at Fleetdrive 360 to talk about what they're building to make sure that you can run a successful trucking company.
And it's everything from the minute you decide you want to hire somebody through maintaining all of your FMCSA compliance documents for ongoing fleet or owner-operator truck business. You've got a driver hiring and recruiting module where you'll create driver qualification files, import digital documents. You've got a drug and alcohol module where you can schedule pre-employment drug tests and manage an ongoing testing pool. We've got an accident registry so you can keep your mandated accident logs and even schedule follow-up drug testing for post-crash. We've got vehicle maintenance logs so you can not only maintain the compliance status of your vehicles, but also upload your work orders and compliance related documents so you're audit ready when they come in. We've got a document repository, fancy words for digital cloud storage of any document that you want, not just necessarily the compliance documents, anything related to your business, post-crash videos, performance evaluations. And then finally, you've got the dashboard. And the dashboard's the most important part. You can close your eyes and glance at our dashboard, open them, glance at the dashboard, and immediately know whether or not you're compliant or not, both on a driver, company, and vehicle level.
It's one-stop shop for all your compliance needs.
Right. Why do you think last mile has become so trendy outside of the fact of, the e-com boom, right? People wanting things delivered to their home. And I'd also assume that I also know that the barrier to entry is a little bit lower than like traditional trucking, right? The cost of equipment and so forth. What are some other reasons why you think maybe people are so attracted to the last mile?
New generations are expecting to get things delivered to their home. They're demanding to get things delivered quickly. And you did mention the online retail thing. That's a big deal. People want their product delivered to their home. They don't even want to go into stores anymore a lot of the time. There still is a lot of store activity, but it's becoming more and more online activity. At one time, online activity was probably 10 to 15% of home deliveries, last mile deliveries. And that's quickly going over 50% now, where, you know, people buy stuff online and they expect to get it next day or soon thereafter.
Right.
You know, so, and then, you know, we've got the opposite part of it where we're trying to produce productive routes, density, where you're not driving back and forth all over the place. And, you know, every day is a new route. And so we use a lot of software and a lot of tools to do that. But it's productivity is good for the industry, good to keep costs down, certainly. And it's good for the customers, too. They know what when they can expect it. There's a lot of tracking, you know, communication about where we're at, when we're going to be at your home, and that sort of thing. So that's a very significant part of our industry.
Got it. We have a lot of entrepreneurs that follow this podcast. How do you get started in this space, one, right? And how do you stand out from the other people in the space?
Yeah, no, that's actually a great question, because starting in this space, our association actually is working towards developing programs to try to introduce people to this new entrepreneur business kind of thing. It was a lot of word of mouth and relatives, friends, and finding out about an industry, working for someone else, and then going off on your own.
Right.
We're trying to finesse that with our association right now, where we can have programs that'll help people get into business. Because there's a lot of other issues. You know, owning a truck is still owning a truck. You need authorities, you need licensing, you need insurance, and, you know, you just can't go in a truck and start delivering today.
Right.
So there's a whole process. And with all the retailers that we deliver for, background checks are a very big deal. You know, they want to make sure that people going into homes are properly vetted and that we're just not sending anybody into the home. So getting into the business, barriers to entry, it's a good business to get into, because you're right, with a tractor trailer or other, there's a big capital investment. Getting a 26 or 24 or 26 straight truck bobtail is, you know, significantly lower cost than a tractor trailer. But, you know, they have to worry about expenses, fuel, things like that.
Yeah.
So our association, that's one of the things that we're working to improve and working to try to make it advantageous and easier for people to get into this business.
Yeah. Is it difficult to build relationships in this business? Like in traditional trucking, you have a load board, right? Where like you go in there and there's a spot market, right? People could bid on freight. What is the spot market for big and bulky home delivery?
There really isn't a spot market. And that is a great question, because we have toyed around with that as well. Generally, it's different operations, different companies. We share resources sometimes between companies, but basically they're dedicated contracts that we have to deliver for some certain retailers. We have some operations where we commingle a lot of freight and deliver for multiple retailers, but the retailers see this last mile delivery as their brand. You know, this isn't like a UPS delivery where they just deliver for anybody. The retailers like to say, you're going to get delivery from Don Staniszewski, and he's going to be there between 4 to 6 tomorrow. Right. And you can be assured that it's going to be a professional delivery, and they know what they're doing. So, you know, this isn't also an industry that you can just walk up and start delivering refrigerators or sofas the next day. It takes some training.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's where we come in as well. Work to try to train people, try to get people into this business and know how to do it right.
When you're able to land a contract with a retailer, how do you guys negotiate prices? There standard price settings, or do you have to negotiate your own price? How does that kind of work in this world?
Great question. There's a lot of negotiations, because all deliveries are not standard deliveries. There's different retailers have different delivery areas, you know, different requirements, different processes, different procedures, and you know, the trucking again is one portion of it, but the delivery itself, how involved is the installation? You know, are you hooking up something? Are you just putting it in place? Are you taking away the old product? So therefore, there really isn't standard pricing for this. It really depends on what account you're delivering for, what the density is like, how many deliveries will you have in a day? and they vary anywhere from 8 to 20 deliveries in a day. Now, if you look at like a typical UPS, they may deliver 70, 75 deliveries in a day, but they're boom, boom, in and out. A lot of our deliveries are not boom, boom, in and out. You go in, and we've all had these deliveries where you have a refrigerator installed or a washer dryer, and it's a lot more involved. So the pricing is very important, and it's very unique to each operation.
Yeah.
Some of them are very similar, but you have to look at each operation separately. And
are there pricing like models available for people that people kind of follow? And then the second part of that question, are there people in the business who maybe disrupt those models, like by having lower prices than what the standard price should be, right? Like undercutting is the word I was looking for, right? Like, are there bad actors or people that you would say, oh, they're making it bad for everybody else because they're just taking anything for the delivery?
There's really not a lot of that.
Okay.
And the reason why is we get these contracts, and when you start delivering for a retailer, they don't want to change. Once it's in place, this is very complicated. You just can't slide people in and out, different people all the time. They want some stability. And again, like I said, it's their brand. They like to talk about the last mile is really part of the retail experience for someone. So no, there's not a lot of, there is some cost cutting, but not a lot.
Okay.
And the other thing is with the contracts, when you get in, trucking contracts, honestly, anyone can break them pretty easily at any time. But they don't, because it's very significant. Once you got somebody doing it good, they don't want to change it. And honestly, we don't either,
Right.
And it takes a lot to get this started. And once the operation is up and running, to go and change it is a significant event.
Yeah.
And the retailers or the shippers that products that we deliver, they don't want to take a chance on disrupting it for their customers.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stability in the industry. There's not a lot of fly-by-night companies in here, because once you're committed. It takes a lot more finesse, and once you're good at it, you're good at it. So it's really significant. It's really something to be proud of.
Got it. A big majority of the companies in this space are part of the NHDA, as you stated earlier. So you've seen a lot of stories. You've seen a lot of success stories. You've probably seen some people that haven't been as successful. You've probably seen a little bit of everything, right? Could you tell us a story that maybe comes to mind? You don't have to name the company, of someone who kind of started a business maybe in a small amount of time. You saw them start in this one place and they've grown to this, just to kind of give us an idea of how things could work for you if you get into this world.
There's one story I can think of is there's a company. They started at an operation with a large retailer. They brought them in. The large retailer was running their own trucks with their own employees and such. And the productivity was not real good and such. So they decided, well, let's try contracting out with someone. They start with 4 trucks. They give them more. They give them more. They give them more. Before you know it, this 4-truck operation company became a $70 million enterprise.
Wow.
And again, it's once the retailers know you're good, and they have a lot of word of mouth as well. Hey, this company's good. These guys do a good job. They want to use you more and more and more.
Yeah.
And the turnover of being low cost and fly by night is very significant. You really can't be low cost fly by night, because especially nowadays, we have a very difficult time getting people to come to work like anyone else.
Yeah.
And to come in this industry, once we have good people, we want to keep them too. So, over the years, and I'm talking about over the last 10 years, the pay for this industry has actually increased because it's not about bottom line price. It is and it isn't. It's more about the quality.
Got it. Do you have any data or statistics on like driver churn in this industry? Like how many drivers typical companies would go through because of the difficulties of this type of industry? Is there any type of data on that?
I don't have any data, but the washout and the turnover is still a significant industry.
Yeah.
In this industry, because this industry isn't for everybody.
Yeah.
If you're an entrepreneur and such, some people, you can't be doing this type of work in your 70s. It is a younger man's game. And I'm not saying you have to be 20 or 30, because there's a lot of people in their 50s and maybe even 60 doing this. But, there is still a lot of turnover because some people just aren't cut for this type of work.
What are some of the best practices for driver retention that you guys have found?
There's a lot of them. We do. In fact, we just talked about it in our forum just yesterday here in Boston about, we utilize a lot of contractors, and they're not our employees, but they like to be recognized. And, it's not all about the money. It's people find this industry very rewarding. If you can go and be a professional delivering this type of product, and survive well in the industry as a career, it's a good career. And they like the recognition. Some people like dealing with customers and going into a different home all the time. This isn't warehouse work where you're at the same place every day. It is exciting. And you get different types of merchandise, different types of homes, different types of deliveries. And when you're a professional, it's really something to be proud of.
Yeah. We are here live at OTR Solutions HQ. I'm here with my partner, Jonathan. Man, listen, factoring is an integral part of the transportation industry. Why is factoring important?
Absolutely, Rahmel. In this economy, in this market, cash flow is king. Cash flow is the key to growth. If you have a young trucking company, or if you've been in the industry for years and you want to take that business to the next level, we're absolutely a company that can help. So I hope you'll give us a call today. Let us know what we can do to help you out.
Get the rest and roll with the best. Let's go. You just now spoke about using a lot of contractors. There's been a bunch of just talks and back and forth and regulatory things about contractors versus employees and so forth. Is that something that threatens this industry? And if so, how are you guys defending against that? What's your thoughts on that?
It does kind of threaten the industry because it gets somewhat political, state by state and such, because frankly, lawsuits are expensive. When you get involved in a class action lawsuit or something, there's a lot of aspiring attorneys that make a career out of this.
See their billboards everywhere, right?
Yeah, it's just like you see, if you're sitting at home and you see all these workers' comp things and all that. Well, the same thing with our industry. There's a lot of attorneys that like to file lawsuits and get, they see it as a money thing. So that is a challenge to our industry. And that's something that we try to combat, we try to fight against. And it is very similar to the Uber Lyft thing too. There's a lot of people that this is what they want to do.
Right.
And yet you have opposing people that say, no, you shouldn't be doing that. And the states see it as a way of getting around paying taxes and such. And honestly, that it's not the motivation at all. Contractors and people in our industry, they want to do this type of business. They love it. And so we are working legally, lobbying politicians in Washington and such to try to tamper that down so that doesn't become a disruption to our business all the time. We have a hard enough time, honestly, delivering and getting things out on the street and successfully delivering to people's homes without having to worry about lawsuits and such. And the liability as well, doing things right and not having damages. These people that I just said are very proud professionals. When they do it right, they can make good money at it. When they do it wrong, you could also lose a lot of money with claims and problems and like that, that cost them money.
Got it. Okay, cool. So are you still operating your business as well?
I am, yes.
Okay, got it. So you said you do a lot of stuff for like the large retailers like Home Depot and so forth?
Yes.
So how important is like niche in your industry? Like do people just kind of deliver like all big and bulky, or is it like you find like a segment of big and bulky, and like how does that kind of work? There is a niche, and it's big and bulky, and you get into this space, and you become very good at it, and there still is a lot of word of mouth and networking. This company knows what they're doing. We don't deliver small items very well.
That's another business, totally.
Right.
And that's something I always say. If the retailers could figure out how to deliver a sofa into your house with an Uber car, they would do it. But you can't.
Right.
So there's always some stability and finesse in this industry that's required.
Yeah.
And so that is our space, and we're good at it. And it's a limited part of trucking, but it's still a very significant and growing part of trucking right now. I think now we're an $11 billion industry just in big and bulky last mile delivery.
Yeah.
And that's grown because years ago it was probably half of that.
Wow. How does someone learn more about the NHDA and engage you guys to become a part of the organization?
We have a website, nationalhomedeliveryassociation.com. That's a real mouthful, but you can go there and find out about our association, our members, what we do, and our industry as well. We think we are on the forefront of the industry. We would like to be the voice of the last mile delivery, and I believe we are. We're now in the process of analyzing statistics, defining the industry, the size of the industry, and so on and so forth. So if you want to know something about the last mile delivery, our association is the one.
Got it. And I think we touched on this a little bit earlier, but you guys are developing some programs to educate people, teach them how to get into this space, how to thrive in this space. Can you talk more about that and when that would be available?
We actually started a National Home Delivery Association Foundation this year, and it's actually a charitable association to give back to the industry. All of us, most of us, are volunteers in this association. So we have a three-pronged approach. We have, number one, we're providing scholarship, $10,000 scholarship each year to a worthwhile individual. If you're in our association and such, family members, independent contractors, their family members and such, we now have a scholarship that we're funding each year so that people can go on to a career, whatever career they choose, but onto a post-secondary type of college or trade school and such. That's one prong. The other prong is we developed, along with High Point University, a leadership institute. And what it is we're going to develop rising executives in our industry. Our industry used to be composed of a bunch of, honestly, old guys like myself. And we're trying to bring more and more younger people into this industry and more executives that we bring up into the leadership of this industry. So we started this Leadership Institute where we have a 3-session program, 3 days, 3 sessions throughout the year. And at the end of this program, they become NHDA Institute Fellows. So it's an industry designation which is brand new. This is brand new for the industry as well. But it's trying to bring people up into careers and leadership in our industry. So it's similar to like a college curriculum teaches you how to do critical thinking and how to perform in whatever career you choose. We're doing that with a slant on the last mile delivery industry to bring people into our industry. The final part of it that hasn't rolled out yet that we're developing is what we call an ICC accelerator program. We're developing a program so that there is a way, to your earlier comment, about teaching people how to start their own business, how to get into the industry of last mile delivery. And I'm talking about people with trucks and operations, how you can actually be a professional in this industry and know how to operate a successful business on your own as a last mile independent contractor. So that's going to be a very significant program. It's going to be very detailed. It's taken a lot of work, but there is no other program like that in the industry today. There are truck driving schools for over the road and that sort of thing, but there is nothing for last mile delivery, and we think we're going to be the first ones to develop that and offer that.
Got it. I love it. And my final question would be, aside from, the best practices and just overall information and tools that the NHDA provides, you guys also provide access to like actual contracts or actual retailers. Are you connecting people with work, with opportunities? Can you speak to that?
We don't. We don't right now. Generally, the retailers want to deal with a company that's going to handle all their contractor problems and delivery problems. So they'll contract with a company like mine, and I will contract with a group of independent contractors to carry out that work. So, we do have a lot of the contacts. The retailers, they don't want to deal with each independent contractor and each last mile delivery driver. They want a management team to handle all that. That's where we come in. So we have access to a lot of business. We're always looking for independent contractors and good independent contractors. And, we like to get independent contractors that spend years with us. I've got an operation in California where we've had people that have worked for us since 2003. And it's very stable, but they're good at what they do. And they rely on us, and we rely on them. And it's a great relationship. And they make good money. They make good money because they do the business right. And again, that goes back to this ICC Accelerator program. We're trying to teach people how to do the business right and become professional and make money.
Doing it right the first time.
And have fun.
For sure. All right, Don, we're going to kind of wrap up. Before we do that, we have to, number one, let people know where they can connect with you. Where's the best place to reach you, if it's LinkedIn or wherever you're social at. And then also, we always end off with a final thought, which is just something you want to leave the audience with, some encouragement, a word of advice, spiritual, entrepreneurial, whatever, wherever that may come from, just come from the heart. So let's start with where people can find you.
I'm on LinkedIn. Don Staniszewski. I own a company as well, so I'm also the chairman of the association. You can contact me on there. You can contact me on nationalhomedeliveryassociation.com, and you can get a bunch of information. I'd be glad to respond to anybody. I have people calling me up, asking me about things with the business. We're a very sharing group of companies in our association, so we'll tell you the way it is and what pitfalls to look out for, and we'd like you to be a success too. And I can tell you this, I have spent my life in last mile delivery. And when I started in the business, I was some 20-year-old kid and such, and there were all these old 50-year-old guys in the business. And, now I'm one of those guys, but it was a great career. It's a good career. There's a lot of hours, and there's a lot of, it's not a just sit behind your desk type of business. I know most of our contractors, if not all of them, and most of our delivery people, there's a lot of management interaction between people. And that's a good thing, And like I said, it was a great career for me. And, now it's becoming more and more trendy, but it's a good career for someone that you can spend your life in and be a success and have a lot of rewarding opportunities and a lot of satisfaction. I have a lot of satisfaction in this business. I was, years ago, I was involved a lot with different types of trucking, drayage, LTL, truckload and such. And a lot of that was a lot of price-based business. This business, price is important, don't get me wrong. But what is real important is the management expertise, the finesse, the professionalism of the people in this industry. And it's very rewarding. It's a great industry, great career for me. It'll be a great career for you.
No doubt. Sounds like a final thought to me.
Thank you.
All right, guys. So, what we do around this time, if you don't respect that, your whole perspective is whack. Hustle fam. If you smell something burning, it's only your desire. This has been another amazing conversation with myself, Don Staniszewski of the NHDA National Home Delivery Association. You guys check them out, learn more. I'm really excited to learn about the accelerator program and what you guys are doing. I think that's really, really cool, and I'd love to be involved in that and help in any way. Guys, I think that's it. Hustle fam. We are out.
Thank you.
If you twisted, confused, or stuck about trucks, don't be dumb. This is the place to come. Truck and hustle. Let's go.